we are going to talk about 5 overlooked traits of autism. Comment down below if you have any of these 5 traits that we discussed today. The first trait I'm going to talk about as uncommon for autism is clumsiness, or lack of physical coordination. How did you do in sports as a kid? Were you really big into sports? Were you good at sports? I really wanted to be good at sports, but I was terrible at sports. So I did gymnastics for several years, and they always tell you point your toes, you have to be graceful and all that, and I just wasn't. I go back and see videos of myself in gymnastics, and I'm like, my toes definitely were not pointed. I did not do as good as other kids did. I loved it. I wouldn't change it, but I wasn't good at it. Clumsiness. Maybe in general you are clumsy. Maybe you will stub your toe really easy on something sticking out, or you're more prone to walk into a wall. I've done that several times. Or you misjudge the distance, when you're walking. Your coordination is just not as great as people who are not autistic. Motor skills are not the same for us. Maybe you have trouble riding a bicycle. Maybe you just can't coordinate yourself to get on a bike. Maybe ice skating, roller skating. Maybe you have a hard time coordinating to do those activities. So, lack of coordination, clumsiness, an autistic trait. Number 2 autistic trait that we're going to talk about is difficulty with transitions. You may have trouble moving from one task to another and transitioning to something else. You might have trouble with what they call switching gears. Let me give you an example that happened to me yesterday at work. So I had already planned an activity I was going to do with my seniors. My coworker was not going to be able to do the activity, so I ended up having to step in. I got really flustered, really upset. I had to figure out plan B and plan C and plan D like I always do, and just went into that activity feeling funky. I didn't have adequate time to process what I wanted to do because the transition had to happen so fast for me. I didn't have time to process it, and it made it really difficult for me, and it affected me. Another example of a difficulty with transition can be like a woman. If you're going into menopause, that transition might be more difficult for you than it would a neurotypical person. So transitions into motherhood is another huge step. Maybe transitions into vacations are hard for you. Maybe some of that cognitive flexibility is because you have accepted it one way, and when that changes, it can make it harder because it changes the whole dynamics. Like maybe socially you are expecting one way and you're going to be able to handle it, but no, it's going to be changed into a bigger social thing or a different way, and then you can't adapt because your mind's just not ready to accept it that way. Okay, the next autistic trait that we're going to talk about is executive functioning challenges. So your executive functioning skills may not be as good as other people, and maybe you have slower processing speeds. When someone is trying to tell me something at work, like giving me instructions on how to do something, if they talk too fast, I can really get flustered because I can't understand it. They have to slow down and tell me again, over again, because it's not computing up here. In other words, I have to think about it longer and harder and process it differently, slower. You may have trouble with tasks at home, like how to organize your day or how to clean your house. You just can't manage your day-to-day tasks or activities. You love to be organized, but you're very unorganized. I call myself an unorganized, organized person because I've got the file cabinets, I've got the bins to put things in, I have everything I need, but it's all unorganized and not put where it needs to be. I have the file cabinet, but the papers are sitting on top. Huge stacks that I don't want to go through. I don't manage my time very well. Maybe you don't either. And trying to work and come home and make a meal for supper, it's very difficult. It's harder to have a family for you because of your executive functioning skills are a challenge for you. Okay, another one is maybe you have difficulty with nonverbal communication. I'll give an example. I can sit in a conversation with someone and not even move my body, just be stiff as I don't know what, no gestures. I am always noticing and thinking, I need to be moving somehow. I'm sitting here I'm very aware of, in a conversation, how my face is and how I need to be smiling or looking or nonverbal cues. I have to prompt myself to try to look more natural instead of rigid. So maybe you don't gesture a lot naturally. I find myself mimicking how people are sitting or facing. If their hands are clasped, in some way, I find myself doing the same thing. Number 5, another overlooked trait in autistic adults is special interests and hyperfocus. You might spend hours researching things you're really interested in, and that's normal for you, but that's not normal for the average person who's not autistic. You might spend so much time hyper-focusing on what it is that you enjoy that you forget to eat, you forget to go to the bathroom, take care of your personal hygiene because you're just so busy doing what you enjoy. I can definitely relate to that. I can spend hours editing videos to get it just like I like it, my version of what's... I think if you took that ability to hyper-focus and obsessive hobbies and applied it to making a business out of something, you could make a lot of money. Because, for instance, I took my hobby of creating digital downloads, content for Etsy, and spent hours doing that and turned it into a side business. It can work in your favor to have such abilities. Many employers would like to have someone at their job that is able to hyper-focus and see details and things. So it comes in handy in the world of working. So do you find in your own personal life that you have several hobbies you hop back and forth to, or maybe the same hobby you've had for years and years, and it brings a lot of joy in your life, and you focus on the details of what you enjoy doing? So being autistic, we focus on the details rather than the human interaction. It's just the way our brain is wired. Let's keep the conversation going. Go down there and text a comment. I love reading your comments, and I will always respond in some way to your comment. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.